whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā kona whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira hira whakarongo pi kari kari mai. Hare hare mai, o Taringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
E ngā kāwai nui, e ngā kāwai roa o ngā maunga whakahi, o ngā wai tukakiri, o ngā mātua tūpuna puta i te ika Māui, i te paihau ki te tai au hauauru, o tira tana paihau ki te tai rāwhiti. Ana e mihi nei o tira kia koutou te wai pounamu, and everybody around the world, wherever you are, nau mai, hoki mai, ki te punua pāho o
Taringa.
Oh, Paito radio voice tuahine. Very good. And yes, welcome back. Here we are. Māua ko Erika taku tuahine nei e mihi nei kia koutou. Coming at you from
the bustling metropolis of
Te Awamatu. Under the auspices of Te Whānau Aotearoa. So here we are again. Nau mai hoki mai e te iwi. And have we got an episode for you?
Yes.
Anei, ko hoki mai ki te iwi o te Wiki. Don't you get all excited now, Erika?
I'm excited, okay.
Me too, actually. And there was a bit of a clue in there. I referred to ngā paihau o te ika Māui, and I started at te taihau auru. Then I went, looked over ki te paihau i te tai rāwhiti. Ana ka te tiro au ki tiki rau. Kei raro rā ko te tawherotanga o te pōhutu kaua. Te unga mai o ngā waka tai anau ka rongo i tēnei kōrero te pūwaha. Te kuaha rānei o te whenua.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, it's cool, eh?
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. Put that in my whai kōrero pocket.
Mm-hmm.
E hoa, e te rangatira Rawiri, ka mihi kia koe nau mai.
Ai, kia ora rā tātou. Koutou whakarongo mai nā. Tēnā noki kōrua e ngā hoa. Tēnā koe whānau mo tērā ue rā kōrero. Thank you very much for the awesome introduction. And it's nice to be able to talk to you here while I look out at the very seas that pohiri waka from Hawaii. It's nice to be part of this program today. Kia ora, mōrena tātou.
Tēnā koe hoa. And so all our listeners know, all 30,000 of them, right now Rawiri's speaking from home from Whangaparaoa. And how's the weather down there, bro?
You know, when you live in a rural place like this, it doesn't matter what the weather looks like. When you're in a farming community, rain is good. But we've had a lot of it lately. So, yeah, she's not looking too good. I'm just looking out in the harbour there at the moment, and I see the Hōtaka Thompson sitting out there, which is one of the boats in the Tuia 250 flotilla. So it's coming to take a bit of shelter while the weather settles.
Kia ora, man. Kia ora. Yeah, true, eh? When you're in a place like that, who cares what the weather is? And, you know, I think I said this before, ia taringa nei, māua ko tētai aku niece. You know, she was going, I'm going to do, New Year's resolution, ni te taupake. And I said, here's one, don't moan about the weather. Just be grateful.
Don't moan about the weather.
Yeah, kei te ora tātou, can't bloody win. 1 minute it's too hot, then it's too wet. Oh, where's the rain, where's the... So just be grateful.
Te taia te pewhia.
Koia, te taia te pewhia, ka re hoki e taia te pewhia.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree there. The weather, that's one thing you cannot change.
Ko tā tātou kaupapa, I runga ia iwi o te Wiki, ko te Whānau Apanui. Yeah, we're very lucky to have you e hoa. Hei kōrero mō tō iwi, mō tērā rahi o tātou, mō te Whānau Apanui. But before we get into it, as we do on every taringa, we offer a kiwaha or saying to our listeners, ki te hunga kai whakarongo. Ana kei a koe hoa, hea tētai kōrero mā tātou I te rānei.
Well, I've been having to think about a kiwaha, and I think an appropriate one for this particular area, and that's probably one more well-known across the country, is Ngā Kura Pai a Māhia. Ngā Kura Pai a Māhia comes from an event that happened here at Whangaparaoa when the canoes came in, when the waka came in on the Great Arrival over 1,000 years ago. They were also followed by Tauira Maitawhiti. And Tauira Maitawhiti was the kaihautu on that particular waka at that time. It was Paumā Tangatanga. And before he left Hawaii, he gathered a whole lot of taonga. And 2 of those taonga were 2 red feathers. And I know this differs from the story that within Tainui and Te Aroha, but this is the kōrero here.
Kōrero e hoa.
He brought 2 red feathers with him, and those feathers were taken from the great bird of Ruakapanga, the Manunui o Ruakapanga. And the name of that particular bird in our history is Takeaitu. And I know down in Luawa, they've got 2 names down there for 2 birds, Harongarangi and Tūngarangi. And I think, now that I think about it, Ruakapanga probably had a bird store somewhere. He had a whole lot of birds. And the particular bird we got our feathers from had red feathers.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
Because the birds down in that particular history are toroa. And I know the toroa don't have red feathers. So the amokura, which is a tropical bird, has 2 red feathers on its tail. And he brought those 2 feathers over with him, and the name of those 2 feathers were Mokonui Arangi and Taunini. And what happened was, as he came, before he left Hawaii, he still did the taki-taki manakawa, did his karakia, did his incantations, and what happened was he whakied in it.
Yeah.
He says to Poe, don't leave, something bad's going to happen. Poe, being a typical Māori, says, no, it's all good, I'm going to go anyway.
Yeah.
So he leaves Hawaii with all his taonga. When he gets outside of Tikiro here, he hits a rock. And capsizes and loses all of his taonga to the moana.
Yeah.
So those feathers then wash up on shore, and Pauma Tangatanga's relation Mahia finds those particular feathers. So he sees those feathers knowing their value, because he can see that they're from the great bird of Ruakapanga. He puts them on a rock to dry. Ka heki te kōkō wai, and he tēnei rā, kei te kōkō wai tonu. So he dries those red feathers on the rock, and the dye from those red feathers starts to run. And they've stained that rock red, and that rock is still red today. So what happens is Poe sees him on the shore, and he says to Mahia, I see you have my feathers in your... He's decorated them in as a tipare for his head.
Yeah.
And Mahia says, no, I found these feathers. As you can see, I've dried them on that rock, and that rock has been dyed red from me drying these feathers, so these are my feathers. And hence the saying, ngā kura pai a Mahia, which in English terms means finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Yeah, so that's how that particular... So ko ngā kura pai a Mahia, so if you ever find something and somebody says, it's mine, you can always use that particular phrase.
Ngā kura pai a mahi.
Ko ngā kura pai a Mahia, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. That's only if you find something on accident. If you find something on purpose, that's theft.
Yeah, but different when you're taking it, eh?
If you take it, well, that's something different.
Tika, he rawe katoa tērā kōrero e hoa tēnā koe. On another level too, it's about looking after your taonga in the first place.
Exactly. And actually heeding the advice of your, of your pakeke, of the people who look after you, who are there to look after you, who are there to keep you safe. And he was told by his tohunga Ruatatano not to go, but he decided to go anyway. So he didn't listen to the advice by his tohunga. And there's a reason why he was the tohunga. As we know, every village, every iwi hapu had tohunga within them, and their job was to keep people safe.
Yeah.
So he gave his safety warning to Poe, he didn't listen, and that was the result.
Tēnā koe.
I know after listening to your kōrero a couple of weekends ago that the bad things kept happening to Poe.
Yes. So he loses his feathers. He then comes around from the other side of Tigiro, comes around to this side, and he sees a whale lying on the beach.
Stumbles across a whale.
Was it at the whaleway station?
Having a whale of a time. So he sees this whale and he decides, well, I think I want to make claim to this whale. He makes himself a rope. He ties the tail of the whale to the tree. Or if I say it in Ngāpui Reo, taira te ropi o te teira o te wera ki te tri. And he then lays claim to it. His relation Taikehu comes along the beach and he says to Taikehu, hey, have a look at my whale I've found. And Taikehu says, no, that's not your whale, that's my whale. And Poe says, no, as you can see, I've tied the tail to the tree and I've laid claim to it. And Taikehu says, no, if you were to roll that whale over, you will find that the jawbone is missing.
Kia ora.
So Poe does that. He rolls the whale over and finds that the jawbone is missing. And through that incident, our tipuna gets his name, Kauai Tangohia. Kauai, as in jawbone, Tangohia as to extract. And that's how our eponymous ancestor, Kauai Tangohia, gets his name from that particular incident.
Kia ora.
So he's lost his waka, he's lost his feathers, he's lost his whale.
Yeah.
So he decides to move to the Bronx of te Whānau Apanui, Maraenui. And I hope Uncle Danny's not listening to this.
No,
so
Kylie might.
He then, oh, geez, I'm in trouble. He then leaves Whangapara. But before he leaves, he says to the people at Whangapara, well, there's a taonga I want to leave here to remember me by, and that was the muki. So he left a whole lot of rules for the muki, and he says, I'll leave this as a memorial to himself. And he then packs up and goes to live in Maraenui. He marries Hine Motu, and they have a son called He Kōpara, and He Kōpara drowns in the Motu River, and Pauma Tangatanga blames Tangaroa And long story short, hence why Whānau Apanui fish for the kahawai. And that was Taumā Tangatanga's way of utu on Tangaroa. It's also the reason why Whānau Apanui have a close relationship with Tangaroa. One of the reasons is that he takes from us and we take from him. That's a relationship we have with our environment, with our moana, and with our Tangaroa. So if there's drownings here into Whānau Apanui, we understand that relationship is very much alive and that we take from him. And then that's where the saying tauti, taurea, tangaroa, te ware o tō waha comes from. Those particular where you're egging tangaroa on. Hey,
Wow.
So those are words of endurement. Those are words of relationship, basically. Yeah. It just shows the strength of the relationship. So koina.
Tēnā koe. E hoa, so, I know where te Whānau Apanui is.
And I know.
But, and Erica definitely does for some reason. Yeah, if you could explain, kei whea te Whānau Apanui, ko wea te Whānau Apanui?
Well, te Whānau Apanui is located on the eastern side of the North Island. And we're probably, if you were to look at a map, you were to go to the most eastern part of the North Island, which is above Gisborne and to the side of, the Bay Plenty, Whakatāne, Rotorua, Tauranga. If you go right to the tip there, you'll find a place called Whangaparawa. And from Whangaparawa, if you go east, you hit a place called Pōtikirua, which is our most eastern boundary. And that's the boundary between te Whānau Apanui and Ngāti Pro. And if you head west, you end up in a place called Hawaii, and there's a place there called Te Taumata Apanui, which is our western boundary, which is the boundary between Te Whānau Apanui and Ngaitai. Prāne would know and appreciate this kōrero that Ngaitai, they're the kaipupuri te Māori o Tainui ki roto i te waka o Mātātua.
Kia ora.
Tainui are the holders of the Māori of the Tainui waka here in our particular region, as they come from the chieftainess Tōrere Nui Arua, Tōtō Whōturoa. And through there, our whakapapa ties are strong. Through that Tōrere link. So that's us, the Whānau Apanui. So we're the keepers of the boundary between Ngāti Pro and Ngaitai up in our western part. So if I talked about the Whareo Apanui, the tāhuhu o te Whareo Apanui is the Raukumara Rangers, ko ngā heke, ko ngā awa, ko ngā pau, ko ngā hapu, e ngā karangaranga marae. And then the marae ātea, ko te moana nui a kiwa.
Kia ora.
The waharoa is whakaari ki tauri totoa, ki paipai Aotea. So that's our house.
Yeah.
Our location is very isolated and secluded, I would say.
Yeah.
Could quite possibly be one of the most isolated places on the country. So 3 hours to Gisborne, which is a major centre, 3 hours to Rotorua, Tauranga, 2 hours to Whakatane. So and there's only 2 shops. One Bowser, which is a help yourself.
And they always run out of stuff in the summertime.
Yes, for you rangatai that are listening, Bowser means garage.
Oh, sorry, yeah, garage.
Pai kua kareu e rongo I te Bowser. Tētai kupu kua ngaro noa te Bowser. I haven't heard that in ages. Bowser.
So we're time locked.
Yeah.
We're time locked 30 years ago, I suppose. And it's, so a Bowser is where you can put benzene into your vehicle.
Yeah. Rawe. Kia ora rau atu I ena kōrero. You talked a bit about Paumā Tangatanga and te waka o Tauira mai tawhiti. Pewhia tēnei tupuna o tātou a Apanui.
So Apanui Ringamatu has a very vast whakapapa. And his whakapapa stretches right through the country, actually. Through his whakapapa links to Paikea, through his whakapapa links to Hoturoa, to Tamatakapua. So any of the iwis that whakapapa to those particular tipuna, then Te Whānau Apanui you would say, has a link. So Apanui Ringamatu is the eponymous ancestor of Te Whānau Apanui. So there's many Apanuis in our particular whakapapa. There's Apanui Waipapa, there's Apanui Apua Wairua. This particular iwi is named after Apanui Ringamatu. And Apanui Ringamatu, like I said, has whakapapa funnels through many of the waka, through many of the waka and through many of the iwi throughout the country. So if you're Paikea, you've got links to Taununu, Ngāti Pro, Ngaitahu, all those particular iwi. He also whakapapas to Te Arawa, Te Tamatakapua, so there's, huge relationships in Tūwhare Toa, in Te Arawa, and then his Mātātua links, also to Muriwai,
Yeah.
He's whakapapa to Muriwai. He's far-reaching in terms of his relationships.
Very colourful whakapapa.
Yeah, very colourful whakapapa.
Nice way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, very colourful whakapapa, and because this tribe was probably one of the younger ones to be settled, as in the tribes of the country, you know, that's hence why his whakapapa is broad and vast and long-reaching.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome because we can walk into any of those iwi and use a lot of those whakapapa to show the kinship relations and our genealogical links. Our whakapapa.
I think one cool thing, like when you drive down ki te coast, Miki, tōko tau wāhanga o te coast, I like it when I pass that big sign that says you are now entering the...
tribal boundaries.
Yeah, ai rawe tērā ki au te tērā, you know, I was like, oh, you know, pai te rungo I tērā wairua.
Yeah, the First Nations people. So we call ourselves First Nations people, and I think we've taken that particular ideology from our relations over there in Canada. What we need to do as Indigenous peoples all over the world is start to stop using the colonial words and the colonial names that the colonizers have given us, you know, words like tribe. And we were explained the word tribe by Moana Jackson in regards to being one of the lowest class of the human race. Then you ask what your hapu is, and that's your sub-tribe, which makes it even lower.
Yeah.
So we've started to use words like nation, the Apanui nation. The sign is actually a reflection in time, you know, the tribal lands. We'll be going back to the iwi. Hey,
ka pai. Tini hea tērā sign.
Iwi lands of, tika tonu. Iwi lands. I will leave that sign up that end of Whānau, but we'll do it for this end.
Go on, Erica. If our listeners don't know, Erica is also te Whānau Apanui. And there's a little bit of banter going on here. Well, it's a bit one-sided, actually.
Yes. I'm from the same end as Rawiri.
Pai.
So that's where we're at as an iwi, and I think there's a big underswell of a movement within our people anyway, and I think, you know, we're all contributing to that. You know, when you look at your initiative with Mahuru Māori, I think is an awesome initiative. It's an initiative that has a non-judgmental lens on our language, where people of all levels can comfortably and safely practice te reo Māori and learn te reo Māori. And I like the fact that, you know, let's get rid of the Wiki or te reo Māori, and let's focus on the Mahuru Māori. To me, that's the underflow of the movement of our people.
Kia ora.
So I just want to acknowledge that.
Tēnā koe ho.
And all those people that took part in that. Kia ora. Kei te mihi atu kia koutou.
Tēnā koe.
Me whakarongo pi kari kari.
E a koe korana mo Apanui. You referred to Apanui as Apanui ringa mutu.
Yeah.
You're not talking about Kepa Sterling, eh?
Well, it's a very similar story. Although he didn't do his in a sawmill. So he was working with wood.
Kia ora.
So what happened was, if you know the story of the whare wānanga that used to sit Muawa, te Rawhioro,
Kia ora.
and Hingangaroa, in the rangatira down there, Apanui Ringamutu then went to that wānanga.
Kia ora.
In order to give a koha, he gave one of his fingers.
Wow, man, that's mafia stuff.
It is.
That's like Yakuza.
But he chopped it off himself. Yakuza.
There you go, te iwi, you know, if you enroll today, you don't have to give a finger.
No.
Hika.
It actually might be cheaper than your student fees.
Yeah.
So that's one version of how the story is. So he gave his finger, and he ended up with two taonga that he brought back from Te Rawhioro. One of those was the Tawaru, which I named my oldest son, and Manaia. So those both carving designs.
Whakairo styles.
Yeah, whakairo styles. When you see the Tawaru especially on a carving, you know exactly that is the Whānau Apanui style of carving.
Tēnā koe.
If I can try and explain it without an image, usually the protruding tongue from a carving, you'll see something that runs right down the middle in a snake-like design. No, how would you say that? Like London Bridge, I suppose.
Yeah.
Heading right down the middle of the carved body.
Kia ora.
That's what we know as the Tawaru. The other one is, they say, the Taratara Akai is also that particular image. So that's how he got his name, Apanui Ringamutu. I might as well carry on with Te Wera Te Haua.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
So he ends up in a fight with a relation of his called Hikawera. Kind of lost a couple of times. So he decides to yell out to Hikawera's tohunga, hey, how am I going to beat this fella? And Hikawera's tohunga says, haere koe ki te tonga o te rā. So he ends up going to the setting of the sun, he heads to the west, and he ends up at Tauranga with his relation, Kino Moirua. And it was Kino Moirua's bird that noticed Apanui heading along the beach, and he called him, and he says, Who's that coming along? He's tahia te marae, tahia te mai, meko ai, ko te kuti, ko te wera, ko te aua. And so te kuti, well, the finger got chopped off, a kuti.
Yeah.
Te wera, he also fell in a fire, so he was spit to shrivel.
Bloody hell, Apanui.
Gee.
Yeah.
Colourful whakapapa and
Jeez,
colourful
he
past.
must have had, his insurance policy must have been pretty high.
Well, it might have been a cat. Yeah. And haua te tana waiwai. He had a club type foot.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how the haua comes along.
Te kuti, te wera, te haua.
Oh, wow.
Kuna hoki te kuti te wera te haua. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he nui ngā haua o puta mai te tipuna.
Aye. So he went there and the tui said, tahia te marae, te kuti, te wera, te haua.
Aye. So he ends up at Kino Moirua over there in Tauranga, and he explains the situation. And Kino Moirua says, geez, well, your battle strategy has become predictable. He says, I want you to come over with me. So they end up at Moa, and he asks him to observe a rock. And the name of that rock is Tirikawa.
Kia ora.
And he observes Tirikawa, and as the waves pounded that rock, it stood strong. As the tides came in, he would the rock would submerge, and as the tides went out, the rock would re-emerge. And that's where they're saying, kangaro, kaea, te toka i Tirikawa. So he observes that rock, Tirikawa. He then takes him to the sandbanks to observe a flock of seagulls, a karoro. And as the waves left the shores and rolled over the sandbanks, the birds would quickly lift, only to alight. And when the waves had passed, they would land again. Third observation, he was asked to observe the shag, the kawau.
Oh, yeah.
So on leaving its perch, he observed the path of the kawau, which flew in a straight line, high above the waters, so he could observe everything below. And once it had signaled out its prey, it would commit itself completely into a dive and would always surface with its fish in its mouth. So I think the first thing he was told by the tohunga of Hikawera was, haere ki te tonga o te rā. To us, that taught us never be afraid to seek external knowledge or mātauranga. So Apanui's war strategy needed external input because he became predictable, so he needed help rethinking, learning and doing some unlearning. What they taught us was that research is important, always doing your due diligence, always seek knowledge to improve, being open to seeking help and support, all those types of things, being open-minded to alternative views, and then critical reflection. Basically, that's what the Haere Te Tonga o Te Rā taught us.
Yeah.
Tirikawa was about perseverance, so holding on to your values. So the Tirikawa was based on your making sure you got strong foundations, your cultural foundations, your spiritual foundations, te reo Māori. It shows strength, courage, confidence, and bravery in the face of adversity. Yeah, and steadfast, knowing that bad times will always pass, and that's the tide coming in and out. So the tide coming in, you'll submerge, and you may get lost in some of the bad times, but remember, the tide will always go out. Ka timu te tai, ka pari te tai, he oranga kai roto I te rā huatanga. Yeah, so that was the Tirikawa. The karoro was about being able to respond to new conditions quickly and effectively. So things are changing all the time. If we don't respond to those new conditions, we're going to get wiped out. So those karoro showed us how to respond to new conditions quickly. And things are happening. Things are changing at a stupendous rate. You look at technology, you look at the political landscape. I just think about my father-in-law there in Auckland, and also with the Māori Party. We've got to start looking at being able to respond to new conditions quickly and look forward to what could be, and not looking back to what is. Being able to innovate, being flexible, being able to adapt to change, working together, collective responsibility. So that's what the karoro taught Apanui at that particular time. And then the kawa, with the flight of the kawa, we're always reminded to take a step back and to review our situations from a bird's eye view perspective. So keep it a bird's eye view on everything that you deal with. Take a step back. Hey, don't get emotional about things. Take a step back and actually look at the bigger picture. And if you looked at the kawa, it doesn't try and get all the fish in the sea. It first gets perspective. So when it's time to attack, it will always achieve its goal. It will always get the fish at once. That's what Apanui about being vigilant, being strategic, being comprehensive in your approach, taking your time, being thoughtful, all those types of things. Gathering all your data before acting. So that's one of the stories we're using to influence our iwi at this particular time, and using those particular values through our kura, through our kohanga reo, through our rūnanga, and the police in the iwi are now starting to use that particular dialogue with our whānau, our doctor's clinic. So when you look at that waiata o Wikirangi, ko Apanui, ka anō nei ki tōku whenua, ka titiro au ki te moana nui a kiwa. When you say ko Apanui, not only do we live here at Whānau Apanui, but we also try and embody and manifest the things that Apanui, the teachings that Apanui has left us.
Yeah.
And I think one of those key things is never be afraid to look outside knowledge. You know, we can be staunch to Apanui tanga, kei te pai tērā, but know that there's, hey, he mātauranga anō kei wā.
Tika.
He mātauranga anō kei wā. Ko tōringa ki ngā rākau te Pākehā, hei oranga mo tō tinana. So all those types of things that our ancestors have left, we're trying to push through the through te whānau Apanui iwi. So we're using our own stories to now influence our well-being and our oranga. If we won't wear the cloak of deprivation that the Crown constantly puts over us, we now put our own kahu on, our own kakahu on. So koe hoki tētai kōrero paku mo te tipuna nei Apanui and how we're still influencing the way we see our world.
Did he go back and win that battle?
Did he get his fish?
Yeah, he got his fish. So the proof is in the pudding. We're now te whānau Apanui and not te whānau Ika winner.
E rawe tēnā kōrero e hoa. Well, there's lots of takeaways in there kōrero. What I love is you've taken something that happened hundreds of years ago, centuries ago, and made it pertinent for today. And, you know, to exemplify to us in today that there's still things in the past that we can draw teachings from.
Definitely.
And make current. Talking about, kia mau ki tō Apanuitanga. Same with, you know, o tātou iwi, while we want to be staunch to who we are and belong where we belong, and o tātou tūranga wai ahara, you know, kaue mataku ki te titiro ki waho. And as Apanui exemplified, he went to Tauranga, you know, which was, you know, we think about it now, he went to Tauranga, thinking it from a worldview of their time. You were leaving your nation, you're leaving your country, you know, you're going somewhere else, you know. Yeah, some great takeaways in there kōrero.
Yeah, the thing is he came back. That's probably the challenge to our people, is that a lot of them have gone out to seek the knowledge, but I think that the big challenge is a whenua ka hoki mai ki te kāinga ki te mauria mai we nā rawa we rā taonga ki te wā kāinga. Ki ngā tamariki pukopuno o tēnei wai, hei oranga mo te whenua, hei oranga mo te tangata, te moana hoki. So, hei oranga mo te whare o Apanui. Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge is how, you know, encouraging our people to get out and to learn some new things. But when is it time to come back? Is it time to come back once your entrepreneurial time of your life is over and done with, or while you still got some fire in your puku? Yeah, I think that's the challenge to our people.
Tēnā koe.
Because there's a lot of skillful people. He te noho mararake te iwi Māori. You know, Whānau Apanui is definitely one of those iwi where 80% live outside the iwi. You know, it might not physically move home, but technology allows us to do some innovative things to allow us to bring some mātauranga home and to bring some oranga home to our people and connect that way.
Kia ora.
Oh, that's just me anyway.
Rawe e hika. Rawe rā wātu. You know, if you were to, in humility, and this might be difficult for you, but what are some things you think that make te Whānau Apanui unique?
There's a lot of unique people here.
I know that this question just sneaked up on you.
It just nicked, and it's a neat question too. I don't know if we're as unique as any other iwi. I think we've all got value. But the thing is that we draw a lot of that value from those who have been fortunate enough to be brought up here at home, those who have been sucked into the what do they call it? There was the big urban drift in the 50s and the 60s. That was not our fault. But what it did do was kill connection and language here and now. Because if you move away from home, you're going to come back a lot. And your kids are going to come back sometimes. Their kids are going to come back now and then. And their kids are going to probably never come back. And that's just the whakapapa of how that particular thing works. So I think those of us who have been lucky enough to be brought up here have been given some really, really strong foundations in terms of our cultural values, our spiritual values, and also our drive to ensure the oranga of te whānau Apanui. I'm talking about 100% of the whānau Apanui, the 20% at home and the 80% living outside, as did people like Rawiri Waititi when he wrote the Te Rangatai 1 and 2 books.
Yep, still got them too.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, that was his aroha, his iwi Māori, in terms of depletion of reo within our communities due to the urban drift and due to the strong colonisation on our whānau. So I'm just talking about those types of contributions to our language and to our people.
Tēnā koe.
So without that grounding and without those strong foundations here, I think that would have been quite difficult to do. So there's a generation that looked I know some people say, I'm Tūhoi first before I'm Māori, I'm Whānau first before I'm Māori, I'm Tainui first before I'm Māori. Well, there was a generation where they thought of us as ko te iwi Māori tēnei. You look at Tuini songs, you look at Apirana, Skoro, Te Puia, and all those, Whina and all those people who had strong connection with their homes and with their pā, and with their marae and with their whānau. Their skills and their want for our people was a one of unity. Just on that, I want to acknowledge the kingitanga and how Whānau are absolutely supportive of the kingitanga and what it stands for. Te kotahitanga o ngā iwi raro I te maru o I hoa ngā mono. So we're very strong in that particular kaupapa. We're lucky to have our representatives around the Tekau Mārua and Ikirangi and Te Kāhautu, ensuring that we are in full support of that particular kaupapa. So I don't know whether we're more unique than anybody else, because I think every iwi has these people in it that have contributed to, that have moulded the iwi Māori as we know today. That's a hard question to answer, but hopefully I've touched on it.
I think the way that you answered the pātai, or didn't actually inadvertently displayed the uniqueness of te whānau Apanui.
Dodged the question. Iwi karo.
Nā, he nui ngā kōrero I roto I tērā whakautu.
I know what's unique. We've got the moki, we've got the best kina, we've got the best kaura.
No, we don't have any moki, we don't have any kina, we don't have any kaura.
E hoa, he rawe te kōrero rero.
He rawe te kōrero.
Yeah.
Hopefully I've been able to make a contribution to this program. I think it's programs like this, Rane and Erica, that allows our people to comfortably get an insight into our iwi, but also te atakai to tātou reo Māori. So koe hoki tētai. It's not about the destination. Everybody wants to be able to get up on the marae to kaikōrero and karanga, but actually it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I think just to enjoy the journey, those people out there who are nana nei ki tō tātou reo, and those who may not, to just get an understanding and an insight on te reo Māori and te ao Māori.
Te ao Māori, yeah.
So to speak Māori and to think Māori are two different things, basically. And I think this program allows both those worlds to be present for the listeners.
Yeah. I've just got a question. So with Apanui Ringamatu's very colourful past and his colourful whakapapa, and you know how we have the tauira waka?
Aye.
But he also whakapapas to all the other waka.
Aye.
Which waka do we identify with in our pepeha? Which would be the appropriate one?
Well, let me put it this way. Because I'm talking te praone, ko tainui te waka. If I'm in te araho, ko te araho te waka. If I'm in Ngāti Pro, ko harauta te waka. Because of his whakapapa, we don't have to choose one.
Okay.
I like that answer.
I like it, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We don't have to choose one. I was asked a question when we were doing some surveying here, and they wanted to know where exactly was the boundary between Ngāti Pro and Te Whānau Apanui. I said, well, who cares? Pōtikiru is the boundary.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we want to know what separates you. I said, well, actually, that boundary doesn't separate us. It connects us.
Kia ora. He rawe tēnā.
Yeah, it's not the Berlin Wall. These boundaries that we've got here, so we're just the kaitiaki of Pōtikirua as in the connection to Ngāti Pro. We are the kaitiaki of the Taumata Apanui, because that's our connection to Ngaitai. So it's all about connection.
Lovely way of putting it.
Pepeha, whakapapa is about connection, not being separatist or having your own waka apart from everybody else. Fortunately for Apanui is that he has a strong whakapapa to all those waka. And whichever waka you want, Erica, Nena ko tauira te waka.
Yeah, I'll just stick with tauira.
Nena ko mātātua te waka, hoi atu, kei a koe. But there's no hard and fast for us here. It's all about connection.
I like it.
You know, does that make you feel more comfortable, you know, because you've been living here for a while now? Do you know there's connections to Tainui waka?
Well, yeah, it does actually. Now it's answered a few questions in my mind.
Yeah, and I think that definitely can go in the unique basket for te Whānau Apanui. He nui ngā waka, engari ko tahi te iwi, ko te Whānau Apanui.
Kia ora, hei rawe.
E hoa kua rangatira katoa māua o tira te wānanga o te roa me te punua pāho nei o Taringa I a koe, I tō whakawātea mai I a koe ki te kōrero mai kia māua o tira ki te ehia mano tangata ka whakarongo ki tēnei punua pāho I a wiki. Me taku mōhio, Tērā e tai whānau Apanui, ka rea no pēr kia āta hoki ki te kāinga.
Ai.
Ka whakarongo ki tēnei ki kaupapa, ka tupu te onge i roto i a rātou, ki te hoki ki te kāinga, ki te ako rānei i ngā kōrero e pāna ki a rātou.
Yeah.
O reira, tēnā rawa atu koe, e hoa.
Kia ora kōrera. Kia ora tautau.
Ka tuku i te kupu whakamutu ki a koe mau, ngā kupu whakamutu i mua i tā tātou whakakapi i tēnei wāhanga.
He kupu whakakotahi konei te kupu i kōrero hia i mui no atu i te aroaro te kingi Māori i tai ki runga o whangaparao ki te whakanui ngā waka haurua i tau ki konei. I muno atu i tō rātou wehenga ki te tai rāwhiti mo tuia 250. Ka timata mai te kōrero whakarongo ake au ki te hire a waha Māui e ki mai nei. Tō ia te waka ka maunu ki te wai, ka hoia te moana, ka whiu ake tōna maunu, mau ake tōna ika ko Aotearoa. Hutia kairunga ka eke whakaete te mai ko hikurangi. Ko te kotahi a hikurangi e pupuri nei, ko te kotahi a te tai rāwhiti e pupuri nei i te mauri o nukutai memeha, nānei huti ake, te mango ururo horo peka i ngā kinotia i te whatuaro o te ika Māui e takotonei. So, ko koutou, ngā unanahi o te ika Māui e whakarongo mai nā ki tēnei o ngā kaupapa, tēnei rā te mihi atu rā kia koutou, tēnā koutou, kia ora tāta.
Tēnā koe.
Ka tahi ko te kōrero ko tērā.
Yeah. I know. Especially for me.
And me.
Oh, good.
You know, there's a big connection there between Tainui and...
Yes, we are connected to everybody.
That's right. Apanui, both of his wives, come off tōrere. So,
Yeah. Tainui.
Te whāke and te kohe pare, both of his wives, were mokopuna of tōrere.
Oh,
So, yeah.
there we go.
There we go. But it was lovely kōrero. I appreciate the whole thing, but that part where the kōrero being current, making it current.
Making it contemporary.
Yeah.
And you can do that with a lot of our Māori.
Exactly. We don't do enough of it, really.
Yeah. You can easily take, those old stories and put them in today's context and make them fit.
The philosophy is still
philosophies,
there.
Yes.
It's old knowledge, new times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
But
what I
still
really
current.
liked in that kōrero.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
to know that he's doing stuff with the Aorangatai.
Definitely, yeah. Him, Kiri, heaps of people back down the coast. They're having a huge impact down there now.
And he's an Apanui that's gone home.
Yes, he is.
Nera.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that, but then I was like, actually, there's a whole lot of other cool stuff we can talk about other than him living in Te Atatu for how many years.
Yeah. Well, done his schooling up there.
That's right. Rutherford College. Nera Rawiri. That was you, bro. I think it was Rutherford. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Rutherford.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So, he's actually the embodiment of going home.
Yeah.
But to appreciating that not everybody can move home. Everything's relative.
Yeah.
Reo tikanga, papakainga, jobs.
Yeah.
Have housing, everything's relative. They're all interconnected.
Yeah.
Another takeaway I got from the kōrero was the connectivity, the relationships, not only of people, but of events.
Yeah.
Kōrero, everything.
And I liked those tohu of the rock and the different birds. And I liked when he said sometimes you've just got to step back and take a look at the bigger picture.
Koina. So, hoi anō hei tautoko i ngā kōrero a Rawiri mo te whānau Apanui, and if I missed his last name, Rawiri Waititi.
Oh, yes.
And you may have heard he made a reference to his father-in-law. Well, his wife is the daughter of John Tamihere.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was a bit of reference there to his father-in-law that missed out on being the mayor, but things are to come.
Yeah.
Hoi anō e kaupapa anō tērā, engari anei te waiata hei tautoko i ngā kōrero a Rawiri Waititi mo te whānau Apanui. Hau te waiata tuhine?
Apanui e.
Whakarongo mai.
Take
everybody.
That recording was from YouTube and from Tiriata and Dalma Ray's account.
Kia ora, Dalma. One of the tribal, don't use that word, Iwi anthem.
Iwi Nation.
Yes.
Our Apanui Nation anthem.
One of the Iwi anthems.
We have actually used this on Taringa before, but this the perfect song to summarise.
Even though I did like that song you're going to do about the fish with the juju lips. The moki.
The ngutu taperu.
And I thought, going back, because he touched on the moki, I'm thinking about, wow, we can do another episode on not just moki, but some of the ika and kararehe and the origins of them. I roto i te, actually, we could do a one upon a time about that.
Yeah, definitely.
The moki.
Some of Rehua's children.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And there's lots of kōrero about the tuna, kahawai, titi. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
We can actually, I'm just kei te rere te whakaro.
Oh man, you should see him. He's excited.
Yeah. I am. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up. And, kawe wareware ki te kōrero, he kura pai nā māhia.
Yeah, finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
Yeah, so look after your stuff, man.
Yeah, otherwise I might find it.
That's right.
And claim it.
And the other thing too is,
mahia.
Don't just look after it, use it.
Yes,
if you've got it, use it.
Use it.
So,
use it or lose it.
That's right. Ko te reo tētahi. Use it or lose it. Whatever reo you have, big or small, try and use a bit of that reo every day.
Yeah.
Kei wareware a tātou, ko taringa tētahi kaupapa hei āwhina i te reo Māori me ngā tikanga. Big ups to all of you that listen to Taringa and try out using the kiwaha or any sort of expressions, ka rongo rā koutou, that you hear on Taringa. Know that there's a whole lot of other people on the same journey. I already talked a bit about it's not the destination. So part of the journey is learning te reo Māori, but that's not the ultimate.
Yeah.
So just take in the journey of learning te reo.
Don't worry so much about the destination.
Yeah, which comes with its ups and downs.
Yeah.
There's times when the ocean is calm.
Tai tumu.
Koina. And there's times when it's a bit wavy, a bit choppy.
Yeah.
And the sun's shining and sometimes the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
Hoi anō, kia kaha tonu. Koutou tātou ki te hoi i te waka. Ko te mea nui, the waka's going forward.
Yes.
Hoi anō, ko tātou tērā nera tuhine.
Ai.
Kia ora. Again, you can listen to Taringa. If you've picked this up and you don't know, you can listen to Taringa on Spotify, Podbean, and
Apple Podcast.
And Tiriata. Yeah,
yes.
YouTube. And actually, I was, when Erica dropped me off, she gave me a ride home.
Yes.
And Taringa was on
radio.
Te Reo Irirangi o Tainui.
Yep.
So I know a lot of Reo Irirangi radio stations out there, iwi radio stations, play Taringa, tēnā koutou katoa, nā koutou e horapa nei te kaupapa o Taringa, ko tātou kei te āwhina i a tātou. Yeah, so that's me. Ko māua tēnei e sign off ana.
E sign off ana.
E mi nei kia koutou, hei ko nā mai rā.
Hei ko nā.
Bit whakaronga, bit kari, get the rope close, everybody, buddy. Taringa. Yeah, tahuri mai ki yo, whakarongo ki te tangi a te kori mako. Kōrero flowing out the hooker force, kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā ko nā whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira, whakarongo pi kari mai, hare mai, o Taringa, hare mai. We gotta gather up close, everybody. Gather up close, everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Taringa, he mea tuku nā te wānanga o Aotearoa. To listen to more episodes, search for us on your podcast app and subscribe. Taringa, whakarongo mai.